What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good with y'all? What's good? What's going on this morning? This is your boy Trey. You got my man Ron in the building. I don't know what to say. Bishop, you're starting to have people call for you, man. People are worried. You're starting to wonder what's going on with you, brother. Uh, Send a smoke signal, uh, Morse code, um, or any of say cipher text, anything in which the military uses for communication to let us know that you're okay. Uh, we promise not to speak or bring up any Oklahoma rhetoric. Just come home, man. Just come home. Of
Can I get
course,
one
y'all
out
know.
before? Can I get
Yes.
one last Oklahoma joke out? Maybe
Okay.
he's
Go
gonna
ahead. Go
come
ahead.
back after Oklahoma wins, but that might be a while. So maybe in a week or two.
It might be a week or two, but in case y'all know what it is, E2G presents
Oh,
First Formation Morning Sports Talk. So yes, come on and fall in with us this morning. As usually, for the most part, we got plenty to talk about. Actually, it's funny how the transition now that we have now that we have uh, NBA coming up, a little more of a transition. A lot to talk about the NBA as we start their preseason is on the way. Um, Looking down the barrel of the start for October 2018. I mean October 18th. I'm here for it. I'm ready. Of course, I'm sure Ron is too. Uh, but first, of course, shout out to Mr. Judge knocking home the 62nd home run of his season, breaking his tie with Roger Maris, moving solely into seventh place on the all-time single season home run record. Of course, he's still a little out there. I think they got one or two games left, unless he just has a barrage of home runs and they're just pitching to him, tossing him, whatever. We don't foresee him eclipsing any of the rest of the records, but he is in sole place. He's still young. Opportunity to be with the Los Angeles Dodgers in a couple of maybe next year. So it's all good. But again, like I said, in any case, congratulations, Aaron Judge hitting number 62 yesterday. Um, Actually, I was we was doing the games, our intramural games, and one of the officials, referees, is like, "Oh, Aaron Judge got his 62nd home run." It's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Can nobody hold me down? Oh no,
My
gotta
issue
keep on
is
moving.
we
Yes,
we
sir.
do we doing the rap takeover again. We get some lyrics right.
Uh,
My thing with Aaron Judge is it's annoying because how many folks talk about baseball consistently? And the ones that do, Trey, they
mm-hmm.
all seem to be haters. Why can't
Mm,
we why can't we celebrate this? So my question is, of course, you and I don't love any Boston sports. How could we love anything from that city? But let's just
correct.
say we was Boston Red Sox fans who hate the Yankees. How sick would you be that Aaron Judge just became the AL leader for most home runs ever?
Of course, you don't want that. You don't want to see that. Good morning, Kim. Glad to see your information. Bless you. Have blessings to you as well. Uh, but yeah, so of course, as a person like I can appreciate Cooper Cup's triple crown, even when he has to face off against saying the 49ers. But saying
Right.
I don't. You don't want those things to happen, especially against your 49ers. But for a simple fact, he is a divisional foe. And if he's clicking on all cylinders, potentially his team is, which could diminish whatever my team's going on. But as a love for the game, you got to appreciate that, regardless of who's doing it, how they're doing it. You got to appreciate
Listen up, Boston fans. Exactly.
it. Eric, what's up, Pete? What's going on, Eric? I don't know. I'm very sure, like I said, we We all. It's crazy how this whole week is like. See what I go through in one episode is what the week has been for Bishop. Is seemingly. Uh, what's good? What's good? What's good? Let's stand and good morning, Frat. So
Uh,
yeah, but you know, what I'm saying I'm very sure he'll be back. I'm very sure he'll be back soon. I know he got stuff going on with his home and stuff like that. Probably moving and taking that time, but or then again, maybe not. Maybe it's a farce. It could be. It could be flawless. It could be a farce, and he could just be sitting back watching and being like, or you know, you remember the movie Ace Ventura: Pet Detective
yeah,
when he kissed Finkel
yeah,
and how he was in his room. He's like after he got out the shower.
just got
Yes. So, but in any case, a large amount of NBA conversation, NBA talk to head off this morning. Basically, especially like I said, we got some games that happened last night. If I could get to them, back to them.
Oh,
And be,
Zion,
do you, Ron? Is Zion potentially? I think we spoke about it
the
before.
best
Is
player in the
Zion?
NBA?
Yes. Is he the force to be reckoned with potentially?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Looking slim and slender. If he stay healthy, it's over.
Mm. Of course, last night, but interestingly enough, Ron, hold up, let me get to it. Remove. Let me see. Last night finals. What was initially was not on the slate, of course, last night. Speak about briefly is the NBA's matchup potentially between the number one and number two to be drafted next year in the 2023 or this season at the end of the season, the 2023-24 NBA draft as it plays Victor Wembanyama, the French standout for playing for the Metropolitan 92 against the G League Knights on Scoot Henderson, who's expected to be the number one pick. Scoot was able to move his team in the game, the exhibition game in Las Vegas just yesterday, past the Metropolitan 92, 122 to 115. But in the game to where the potential number one, 7'5" center scored 37 points in the comeback in which he brought his team back from a 20-point deficit just to lose by seven. They do get another chance as they'll match up again on. They'll match up again. Good morning, Commissioner. What's going on, sir? As they will match up again come Thursday. But Victor, man, I don't know, Ron, if you heard anything about this cat or what's going on. Uh, the one thing that I
Oh,
can see, one thing that I can say is these international players. I will continue to say it, Ron. These international players are becoming a problem. Why is that? Do you think?
why is international basketball becoming a problem? I think we can go all the way back to 1980, early 80s,
Mm-hmm.
when we saw the first international superstar. What was his name? But he couldn't stay healthy. Um, I think it's what's his name in Sacramento? It's
Uh,
somebody in the NBA's dad, but
Sabonis.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sabonis in the early '80s was the first big deal, and since then it just the NBA was like, hold on, we got talent outside of America, and the stretch and the reach has been nonstop. We got NBA programs that go over and help develop Africa. Shout
Mm,
out Embiid that came up through that program. It's
Embiid,
it
Siakam.
it's us. It's the
We're the problem.
partnership.
We're the
I
problem.
wouldn't say it's a problem. It's a partnership. we
Hmm.
are we're working and developing, and they want it and they're hungry.
Mm. Of course, Commissioner Meyer say they have been better. Eric disagrees. He doesn't think it's a problem. He said they don't produce enough players to be a problem. Eric, I can get your point, Eric, but when you look at it, even One of the things that we're going to cover in shortly is the GMs came out with they had a survey in which they talked about a bevy of things in which we're going to cover, and we're going to hear some rhetoric to this conversation which you have. Good morning, Kenneth. What's going on, Sid? Glad to have your information with us. So it's starting to be unprecedented. We're having to take a look at some of these players in which we just looked at this year's ranking per the ESPN ranking for the top 100 players. 6 of the top 8 were international players. Of course, now we can play a little different. Embiid is now a U.S. citizen, dual citizenship. I guess you could say he can go either way, but for the most part, I think we have it's a shift in the atmosphere for the most part. But in case, getting to these games from last night, as it was a 5 game slate yesterday.
Aren't
Uh,
all of the NBA players the top 5 non-Americans? Now that I think about it really quick.
yes, I believe so. When
Joker,
you look at
Embiid, Giannis,
yes, yeah,
Luca. Dang.
Luca. Uh-huh.
Maybe we do got a problem, Eric. Hold on. Hold
It's coming. They're coming. You know what I'm saying? They like White Walkers. Uh,
on. Perfect comparison.
White Walkers in the
Freaking
building.
perfect comparison.
Who is the Dragon King?
What?
Of course, like you
Winter's
said,
coming.
like winter's coming. It's like we said, the New York Knicks took on the Detroit Pistons last night. Detroit basketball. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out in that way, but the saying is done every game, all their games. Detroit taking the L 117-96. However, they were led by Jaden Ivey, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists in 22 minutes of play. Uh, Killian Hayes, 11 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists contribution. Isaiah Livers, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Rookie addition, Jalen Duran, 2 points. However, he did not grab 14 boards.
Gee, yeah.
Cade Cunningham, 7 in 23 minutes of play, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Isaiah Stewart, 7 points, one rebound. Bogdanovich, the new addition to Detroit, 11 points, 4 rebounds, and Sadiq Bey, 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in
Woo.
23 minutes of play. On the other side, the Knicks, newly paid bag getter RJ Barrett, 21 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Jalen Brunson, 16 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists, 13 points from Emmanuel quickly with 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Um, who was Derrick Rose back in the action, 6 minutes to play, 3 points, 1 rebound, 1 to 6. Obi Toppin, 8 rebounds, 6 rebounds, 8 points, 3 assists. And Julius Randle, 15 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Eric was stating they are good. That's only 6 people out of the whole NBA. If the top 25 had 20 or more overseas, I would agree. Well, I think it's coming, Eric. Uh, but of course, other than this, Evan Fournier, their sharpshooter, 5 points, no rebounds, 2 assists. Um, Mitchell Robinson, 6 points, 4 rebounds, no assists. Um, it's preseason, Ron. That's as you're starting to see it, the disparity between the points now, as some teams are still pushing with the keeping everyone equal with the same amount of points as they look to see what they got. In this case, the Detroit went a little different route in a sense, kind of with the
There,
highest minutes
there's
played,
something.
27 minutes,
There's something
and
that
the
stuck
lowest
out
was
to
three
me with
minutes.
Detroit.
Okay, I'm listening.
Um, who on that team would you expect to be taking the most shots?
At this point, I would expect it to be. I would expect it to be their lead. I wouldn't expect it to be the leader, but I think it's going to be Jaden Ivey at this point. I think Kay
Right,
Cunningham is going to play the backup role. I mean, not the backup role, but a distributor role. He's looking
right.
to
That's what
run
we
the
just was
offense.
talking about yesterday. What we
Yeah.
expect from him. And he went 3 for 13 yesterday and led the team in shots took it. So
Mm.
I don't know what's up with that, Cade. When you got Ivy, you got Cunningham, your roster's deep. I don't know. We're gonna pay. I was disappointed in how badly they got beat, despite it being preseason.
Hmm. the facilitator. You just need to facilitate. That's okay. You're in a perfect facilitator position, opportunity to let them guys put them out on the wings and get the run, fill the lanes and get to going. Uh, I'm kind of excited for Detroit though. I have not really been
Oh
a
yeah.
Detroit fan, but you know, what I'm saying I'm being when you start to get older, it becomes more about the game as opposed to just your team. Then those things tend to change. So looking forward to see plenty from Cade in the future. Of course, another game that was played last night. Minnesota Timberwolves faced off against the Miami Heat. As we just stated yesterday, a lot of people don't feel like he deserved the bag. Um, Tyler Hero, 30-year annually as he signed the deal, signed a 4-year, $130 million deal earlier in the week. Minnesota uh, got the W 121 to 111, led by Anthony Edwards, Ant Man's 24 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 19 points from Teron Prince, and 3 rebounds and 1 assist of his own. 15 points from Brian Forbes with two rebounds, and then Nathan White Knight, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Uh, Kyle Anderson in 24 minutes of play, no points, but he did get 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 10 points from Jaden McDaniels, and Nas Reed 9 points, 4 rebounds. For the Miami Heat, led by Bam Adebayo's 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists in 25 minutes of play. Cade Martin had 12 points. Tyler Hero, 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Jurt Simmons, 11 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist. Uh, Duncan Robinson, 5 points, 2 assists. Uh, Jokic had Nikola Jokic had 5 rebounds. 5 points, 1 assist. Kyle Lowry, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. I don't think no, he didn't play last night. So and Max Struss, of course, 24. I think Kyle Lowry's back up 2 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Doesn't sound too. Of course, Jimmy Butler didn't play last night. Victor Oladipo didn't play last night. Um, so, do you see any issues or anything? What's good? What's good, Coach Uriah? Any anything you see wrong with the picture so far, Ron, or are we seeing like it is? It's preseason. We're seeing what we should expect from Miami, which is interesting. Again, when I get into the GM's conversation, but do you think that is Miami okay?
Miami is okay to play in, which is where they will be the play in
Mm.
game.
The play in, really?
Six,
Ooh,
7 seed. Tell me why not?
is the East that strong? Where we talk about Miami as a 7th seed potentially?
The Milwaukee, Philly,
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
Boston,
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Are they better than the
You're right.
Chicago Bulls?
You are you are right. It's interesting you say that, Ryan, which we're going to definitely talk about it. That is so interesting. When you said, as you start to name those off, it painted a picture that I had already came across this morning, in which I was like, you know what? I stand corrected. You potentially can be correct, sir. And there's others that
I
share
hope
that
so.
sentiment. Miami is who we
My
thought they
thing with
were.
the Heat is they're getting old.
Coach Uriah said they are who we think they are. No expectations, not to be on second round. They didn't get better. So you and Coach Uriah both share the same sentiment. Obviously, where they feel like they didn't do anything. And like you just said, they're getting old and they're not getting better for the most part. On paper,
Right.
they're not getting better because their work ethic, and we might have Bam might be a more proficient 3-point shooter. Struss was pretty efficient. Jimmy might add something to his game. You gotta remember we did miss Duncan Robinson. He did go missing last season. To where what we
they
seen.
they actually
Go ahead.
Duncan
Go ahead.
Robinson.
Yeah, Duncan Robinson.
Um, dang, my bad. I
Oh,
was
you
going to say they're the losers. They're the losers of the off season because I know dang well. I'm just as you go into their roster, it's just like plain rice. What's jumping off, and I'm like, oh, that's why because they were focused on trying to get Donovan Mitchell or Kevin
Mm-hmm.
Durant all summer, and they ended up coming up short. Deny it. And now they just got to be looking at around each other. Let's give Tyler Hero some money. What else are we gonna do?
So, Coach Ryan brought up a good point the other day when I talked about Tyler Hero. He talked about Pat Riley must be getting soft. So, is it a fair assumption, Ron? Tell me your opinion that if Pat Riley went ahead and gave Tyler Hero this money, is it a fair assumption that Pat thinks that he's made a leap and a jump and he was deserving of that 30 million a year?
No, in my 30 years of knowing Pat Riley in the NBA, 30 plus, he always gets his guy. He always makes the move, whether he's stealing LeBron, landing Shaq with the Knicks, Lakers. He always got his due, and he came up short this all season. I for
So,
sure thought the Heat was getting Donovan Mitchell or Kevin Durant or some big splash.
mhm.
Nothing. Tyler Hero. I think he lost it. He's
Bulls,
gone
Heat,
soft,
Hawks,
y'all.
Knicks, all in the bottom of their East, in the tier of the East. Not surprised at all. These teams are playing candidates.
Yeah, we ain't even bringing the Hawks. We don't know nothing about them yet. You can't say that about them because they made the splash.
Mm, the
The
Knicks, I
Hawks
could
could have
agree
the
with.
best court in the NBA.
The next game, of course, two more games that was from last night. Slated in that from that four game, or was it 5 game, 4 game? So I got the Pistons. We
I
just
think
went
it
over
was four.
Timberwolves. Yeah, it was four. Jazz, the Utah Jazz. This is a team who I don't expect to do anything. However, they were able to get a W last night in the preseason play, winning 118 to 101 over the Portland Trailblazers, currently falling to 0-2 for the preseason. But does the preseason really make a difference? It's only like 4 or 5 games that they play. It's just to get the legs underneath them. But in case it's a competition for the most part. The Jazz led by Jordan Clarkson's 19 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Mike Conley Jr., 16 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. 13 points from Colin Sexton with 3 rebounds and 1 assist. Um, and those were their top scorers. Laurie Markkanen, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. For the Trailblazers, 21 points from Dane, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Why you start laughing when I say Dane?
Oh
Oh Jesus.
no, I was laughing at you just called somebody on their team Canaan.
Marketing. I'm sorry,
No,
marketing.
he's with Canaan now. Mark Canaan. Yeah, shout out to Canaan. I'll call him
Okay.
Mark Canaan for the rest of existence.
Uh, 13 points apiece for Alfred Siemens and Jeremy Grant with 4 rebounds for Grant and 1 assist for Simmons. Nurkic, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Justice Windows, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Um, Josh Hart, 4 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. Uh, Ron, is this an opportunity for Jordan Clarkson to assert himself now that
No,
everyone has been moved out of Utah, and now he's in.
more assert himself with more jump shots. He's about to become the true J.R. Smith. Oh, he's about to just be. He needs to go. I'm surprised he only shot what 8 shots. Yep, he went 5 for 8. I'm surprised that wasn't some 10 for 18.
Oh, Coach Uriah with the idea Utah needs to move Conley and Clarkson and go full tank mode. Um,
Exactly.
Coach Wayne, of course, talking about he up with BS early this morning. So, of course, that's the only people that's left over. Maybe even the formidable people, but when you think about it, they do have marketing, and they have
Kanan.
and they have now they have Colin Sexton.
Sex Land. Sexton.
So it's like, is it feasible for them to move and still have? I mean, to not fully look like they're in full tank mode, to be able to move those last two pieces from the leftover from the current core, and not
Right.
look like
Yeah.
they're tanking.
They could be a fun team. Yep. Without a doubt. You got Sexton. You got Mark Cannon. Um, that's really it. What other young guy do they got? Yeah, that's it. They got to move Conley and Clarkson and get them another young guy. That's all they missing. They got everybody's picks in the NBA. Now they just need somebody young and fun. Who could that be? I don't think nobody else is trading with Danny Ainge, so
And to,
this could be it. Because I don't think not a lot of teams ain't gonna be signing up to trade with them because he gonna
correct.
win the trade.
And the way he be going, he be trying to ask for. He be on some other stuff. Y'all talk about I be
Right.
with the trade. Goodness, he's on
Danny
some
be
other
like, so is your soul on the table? Just throw your soul in there.
So to address what Coach Uriah say, he some way somehow he found a way to throw a Laker dig in there. So yes, LeBron and matter of fact, Patrick Beverly did even go 1 for 14 the other night in which they played. It's just like as he said, oh, I didn't forget about the Lakers fans miss talking about LeBron going 0 for 7 from the field.
What about the
Uh,
fact that Russell Westbrook's the only player to go above 50% on the whole
Above
roster?
50%, yeah. And then of course Coach Wayne comes back. It's preseason. You talking about LBJ going 0 for 7 in the preseason. Let's talk about your Bulls who are starting point guard SWV weak in the knees. Why, Coach?
Oh man,
Uh,
SWV weak in the knees.
and then of course Coach Uriah comes back with clearly and concisely. He has realistic expectations. Which puts I put my Bulls in the play in already in the
Health,
East. In the
health is
East,
wealth. Well, no, they made the playoffs last year when their team was
correct.
completely broken. So I don't think health is going to be an issue for them in regards to making the playoffs. They'll be in the party.
And of course, last game last night, as we and Ron were talking about early when we first got on, the Pelicans faced off against Coach Hunter's aforementioned Bulls, in which the Pelicans got the W, winning 129-125. Shout out to I'm gonna get to that in a second, Coach Uriah. I see your comment. The Pelicans were victorious, like I said, victorious 129-125. Devontae Graham, leading scorer, 21 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. Zion Williamson in 15 minutes of play, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Willie Herman Gomez, 15 points, 5 rebounds. Jackson Hayes, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. McCollum, 6 rebounds, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Valanciunas, 9 points, 3 rebounds. Ron, as I go through and look at these, Larry Nance, 9 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists. Garrett Temple, bruh, like New Orleans is loaded in a sense. I'm looking at
Yeet.
Herb Jones, Najee Marshall, and we're still having to even look at the fact that Brandon Ingram isn't even there. Like they're loaded, bruh. Uh,
Don't make no sense.
I playing the Bulls will make the playoffs, especially if they get
You know
London
who
back.
I want them to go and get? You know who I want them to go and get, Trey. We just was
Is
talking about him.
to bring into take over to pull into New Orleans.
Yes, he is a knockdown shooter, end of the year season award winner, Mr. Jimmy Clarkson, coming off the bench for New
With
Orleans.
Clarkson and I thought no, that wasn't who was they about to move him to? I think they was thinking of moving him back to
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, which that would have been a problem. Anyway, I think anywhere at this
Yeah,
point
I
in which
don't want
Clarkson
that
will
in my
go,
life.
yeah, anywhere where Clarkson to go at this point is going to be a formidable. But yeah, that would be bad. That would be a bad situation for a lot of West teams if they were like bring in a Clarkson. Uh,
Yeah, Of course, we only really want him to go to Philly or LA, but
Yeah, correct. Back to saying reunited,
what?
reunited, and they feel
And it
so
feels
good.
so good. LeBron be looking at him with nothing but hard eyes. We got somebody that can dribble and shoot.
But like Coach Riley, definitely New Orleans is looking like a real problem in the West. The second string, he says, looks amazing. So it remains to be seen if what is going to be an outcome. Um, I'm actually really starting to get excited. Of course, like I was saying, one of the things in which Coach Riley says Jordan Clarkson equals Jordan Poole.
Yeah. Which one
Uh,
would you rather have?
I would rather Jordan Clarkson.
Same.
Of course, one of the things that we're looking at getting at, we're on the Zion tip for the most part. His coach Willie Green is trying to get him back to when the last time he played. Of course, we know Zion Williamson has been out a season and a half for the most part, and there's only 5 players that remains on his roster that initially started when he played the last he played. Two of those being well, one of them being Brandon Ingram. So of course, when you look at it, Coach Willie Green wasn't the coach when he last played. So the expectation is to get Zion back. And Ron, let me know if you think this is possible to get Zion back to averaging 27 a night, 8 rebounds, shooting at a 61% clip. Do you think that is possible? Is that in his future?
I think it'll be close to 70%.
Ooh.
And if Zion ain't getting 10 rebounds on a basketball court, something ain't wrong. Something is wrong. But all he does is dribble, run, and dunk. Dribble, rebound, run, and dunk. Yeah, higher than 70%. He's. I'm buying all of Zion stock that I can.
Oh, the stock you can get.
All of it.
So here we have a pretty extensive list in which a survey was conducted, um, and the survey has gives some interesting, I guess you could say facts. Basically, we get a peek and look into what the GMs across the NBA, all 30 GMs, tend to think of their counterparts and the moves in which these organizations and these teams have made. Coach Uriah with the Zion, I feel like Zion is still excited to simply be in the league. Correct, he did state that, and one of the things he did say, Coach, need that next level where he starts to take the game serious and dominate. When we say dominate, are we talking about Shaq domination, LeBron domination, Jordan domination? What type of domination is his ceiling, Ron, do you think, for Zion Williamson?
I mean, the only I want to go with Shaq.
Okay, that's about the ceiling at this point. Is that his ceiling, or that's just where his first step is like? Okay, this is the first step. Next, then we plunder the next sort of domination.
Yeah, it's definitely not Shaq level because that's a 4 champion. It's kind of disrespectful to just compare somebody to what Shaq can do.
Hmm.
Because the closest we've seen since is probably going to be Giannis or Embiid. So
Hmm.
I would say that that's Zion's floor for right now. Can he get to
Okay.
where they at?
Okay. All right. Charles Barkley reincarnated Coach Uriah Wood, I
Thank
swear.
you. I couldn't
Need
agree more.
30 and 15 every 3 to 4 nights. Coach, he's not getting that. Come on, is that fair to even ask? He's not. That's I don't even think that's Zion's level. 30 and 15 every 3 to 4 nights.
If he gonna score 30 a night, his jumper better be wet. But 15 rebounds,
Tsunami.
15 rebounds is I could see 24 and 15 a night.
I don't
He
even
got
know
too
about
much. He got
15.
too much heat on his team. He's a passer too. He got Bi. He got Column. He got some dudes on the bench.
And then you got to think.
There
I'm
ain't
trying to
gonna be
figure
that
out:
many points for him.
is he going to be the starting center, or like what are you going to do with Valanciunas now? Like, do you put Valanciunas on the bench? Do you move him to the 4 or the 5? Like,
No.
what are they going to do?
Yeah.
They got good problems, I think, or they gonna have to move some people, one of the two, bring it back bring back some assets.
Shaq domination.
I look forward to go seeing some Pelicans games. I know first game I'm going to see them against the Houston Rockets. I think on Veterans Day. Uh, but yeah, so we have that. But like I said,
Shaq
GM,
Shaq brought Shaq brought fear, y'all. Shaq brought
yeah, he
fear.
doesn't. Zion
You
doesn't
came into
impose
that
fear.
paint, you was getting punished. You had to three people had to jump on top of that man for him to not be able just to make a layup. Just slow down on our Shaq comparisons.
I got you there, Ron. I get your point clearly. Yeah, because no one thinks that about Zion. Maybe maybe last year before this, when that was maybe something in what you see Zion, but now, not so much. But of course, you see if he comes back and with the domination. Uh, but like you're saying, these GMs, we get a look into under the hood of the mind of the GMs as they put forth a couple of things. So in and during this segment, Ron, I'll be asking you a question here and there to sit up and see where your mind is as a GM and when you look at it or looking at it. So of course, when it comes to the top rookie in the NBA, who did you think the GMs think was the top rookie in the NBA? Who would you say was the top selection in the rookies this past season? I mean, this past draft.
The top rookie from this draft, Banchero.
Okay, they agree. 79% agree at that point. Interestingly, the runner up, however, that they was voted the runner up to it is Keenan Murray was the runner up.
Agreed.
Uh, who do you what do you, when it comes to the top player from this draft with the most upside over in the next 5 years?
I'm guessing they said Chip.
No, he was second with 28% of the votes. Banchero ran away with that as well with 31% of the votes. Jaden Ivey and Jabari Smith were tied for 14% apiece. So they see it as being Banchero, Holgren, Jaden Ivey, then Jabari Smith. Um, the biggest draft steal, Detroit's Jaron Durian and Houston's Tari Easton with 50 points, 50 votes apiece. I mean, 50% of the votes apiece. So they split between the 15 and 15. Um, Best defensive team, Boston was selected by the GMs. Best defender, uh,
Not
best
Marcus Smart.
top three. No, Marcus Smart was seen as the best perimeter defender. He's the best perimeter defender. But when it comes to the best defender overall, it goes 1, 2, 3. Giannis, Draymond, Rudy Gobert.
Burr.
Best perimeter, like I said, Marcus Smart. Best interior, Rudy Gobert. And then lastly, of course, the most versatile defender goes to, of course, your man, Giannis Antetokounmpo. A couple of other points before we get to really the nitty gritty of it. Let me go back. Um, in terms of teams, the Warriors were the runaway for the most fun team to watch in the NBA, as well as the most efficient offense in the NBA. The Toronto Raptors were selected for having the best home court advantage. The Nets were seen as a team that has the most difficult to be predict um, as to how they would do. The Cavaliers were seen as the team with the best youngest core, which is interesting to me. I thought that would have been Houston, but it belongs to the Cavaliers. Um, Ja Morant was picked as the most athletic player and the fastest with the on the ball. Curry, of course, the best shooter, was no surprise. Um, as well as Curry's also the player, the best moving player without the ball, and the player that you most likely would want to take the shot with the game on the line. Uh, Jokic was selected as the league's best passer. Is that disrespectful to have a center as the league's best passer?
My favorite best passer led the league in assists last year, not this past NBA year.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James.
Uh, Chris Paul is seen as the best leader. Giannis Antetokounmpo, of course, the most versatile player. Um, what else do we have? Oh, coach says the Cavs are definitely the best young core. When it comes to coaching, and then we'll get back into the meat and potatoes of their assessments on a survey. The best coaching, interesting enough, Eric Spoelstra, top coach in the league, 52% of the votes, followed by Steve Kerr, Greg Popovich, Monty Williams, and Tyronn Lue.
Tyronn Lue was last. Very shocking.
Yes.
He would have been my
Um,
number one.
However, Tyron did get some top votes. Kerr was tapped as the best manager or motivator, um, as well as running the best offensive schemes. Tyron Lue was credited with being the best in-game adjustment. Spoelstra again comes out top as he's seen as the best defensive schemes. Of course, the assistants go to Kenny Atkinson for the Bucks, Charles Lee, who were tied for the best assistants in the NBA, and Chris Paul received 32% of the votes for the leading the way as the best current player to become a future coach in the NBA. I don't foresee that. Chris Paul, I don't see as a
Best
coach,
future
NBA coach.
coach.
Yes.
They gonna hate him. He gonna have like a young team, like a Houston Rockets.
Of course, credited with the best offseason, the top offseason moves. Of course, that goes to Cleveland Cavaliers with 41% of the votes. Minnesota, Philly, and Utah are tied for second with 17%. And lastly, Boston and Sacramento also receive votes for the top offseason moves. The most surprising move, of course, as voted by the GMs, Rudy Gobert to Minnesota. At which got 47% of the votes, and then the rest of them went to Mitchell. Uh, Donovan Mitchell going to Cleveland with 43%. So of course that whole Utah move, making moves situation, most underrated move of the offseason, Malcolm Brogdon to the Boston Celtics. That's believed to be the most underrated. Uh, Top new player to have the most impact. Who do you think that would go to?
New player on the team,
Yeah, new player on the team to have the most impact.
Donovan Mitchell.
After correct, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Jalen Bronson. Uh, the player. This is interesting. I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, but this brings up what we were just talking about. However, the player most wanted to build the team around. Only two names. Do you know who those two names are? Only two names across the board.
Giannis and Luca.
Correct. Giannis at 55% of the votes. Luca at 45% of the votes. So let's start. Let's pause right there for a second. Let's unwrap this a little bit. How would you feel? What Coach McBride say Monty has to drop significantly after last season outside the top five now. Of course, Coach said Giannis. Oh, Coach said Giannis and Jokic. No, Coach is Giannis and Luka. Jokic was even no one else got votes except for Giannis and Luka. So what does it say to you when you know your GM is one of the 30 and your name didn't get mentioned? You are Ron
For
Lowe for the Portland Trailblazers. you know your GM is when you know what I'm saying you doing your thing, you get mentioned a lot, and your GM doesn't mention you as a player. You're a young talent, and you don't get mentioned as the player that you that would want to be built around by your own GM. What does that say? Are you taking offense?
If my GM says he'd rather build around somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
only if I'm in their echelon. If I'm
Okay.
in a top 10 player.
Mm-hmm.
So
So if not, you.
Portland and Dame Lillard, I would be upset.
Mm.
But
Is he that echelon, or is he above that echelon? Let's talk about that for a second. Is Dame Lillard, is Dame Dash in the hierarchy, or that level of Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo to build a
no,
team
because
around?
because of his age. Because of his age.
Okay, so
If
if
I
Dame,
was Ja Morant and my owner came out and said that, I'd be pissed. That's a better one.
mm, is your, do we consider Ja in that echelon? We're talking about Giannis and Luka.
I think we do. I think we do.
Never this conversation.
He had about a hot second of Dame time. It was Steph versus Dame for a little bit.
Of course, continue. Like I said, Luka Doncic, top player by positions. Of course, Steph Curry, who you think is the top shooting guard by mentioned by this GMs.
Top shooting guard. Ooh, that's tough.
I think you got it in you.
Jalen Brown.
Mm-mm. No, sir. Devin Booker.
Um, oh, yeah. How could I forget Book?
Coach hit it on the nail. Of course, KD as the three. And then who do you think was 4 and 5 is as rated by the top of the GMs, the 4 and 5 position top players?
Is the four Carl Anthony Towns?
Mm-mm. Which is coming. It's this is kind of hard, I guess you could say, because you have to look at you'll know how they're going. But Giannis is the four.
I knew it
Leave it.
was freaking Giannis.
Giannis is the four. So who do you think they leave at the five?
Ain't gonna be my MVP. It's gonna be
It's not.
Joker.
Yes, it is. It's Joker. It's Joker. So the top five is rated by the general managers is Steph as the point, uh, Booker as the two, KD as the three, at the four is Giannis, at the five is Joker. The only difference is last year the two was voted as James Harden. So Booker jumps James Harden, and now he's considered that's the top five in the NBA. Where else will we go from here? A couple more. This is where it starts to get interesting. Who do you think there's their East champion
Prediction for next year.
for this year, this season?
Uh, on a level of 1 to 10, spicy curry. What is it? Is it a spicy pick?
What
Because if it's spicy,
the overall team? The who you think they say is going to come out
is
the
it
East is going to
is
be?
it easy? Is it an easy one? If it's easy, it's
Yeah.
gonna be the Golden State. If it's
No.
spicy,
What
I was
from
gonna say Cleveland.
So for if you look at it, well, no, let's talk about the East one first. In all accounts, you're
Oh,
wrong with both,
Milwaukee.
but coming out of Milwaukee,
It's
it's Milwaukee. It's Milwaukee. It's Milwaukee. But only 16,
it's
honestly,
Milwaukee.
only 16's got a vote for the top four spots. Milwaukee was the top team, of course. Boston and Philly are runner ups, and then Brooklyn, Miami, and Cleveland are the only teams to get votes for that. Coach Ryan, you is on it, batting 1,000 right now for the West. This is where it gets spicy. This is where it gets spicy, Ron. Who do you think they have the GMs have coming out the West?
Oh wow, it's spicy, spicy. Do I
It's,
need
in
to say
my
the
opinion, it's
Pelicans?
spicy. Nah, it's not that spicy.
No, then it's not the Pelicans. Not
Nah.
that spicy. So they have.
So
I don't think it'll be the Suns.
The Pelicans did get a vote. It's actually a little thicker in the West. They have a total of 9 teams that they have potentially that's got votes, but the top three are pretty spicy in my opinion. Well, the number one is spicy. I
They
wouldn't have thunk it.
they didn't say Denver, did they?
Nah, Denver's is in the top five.
Memphis is number
Mm-mm.
one.
Nah, Memphis is number
What?
five. The Clippers is number one.
Oh, okay. They living in 2019.
Minnesota did get a vote, coach. So of course, wait, wait, hold up, coach. Yeah, they did. So the Clippers are expected to be the top seed coming out, followed by Golden State, which they said it was pretty close. Phoenix, Denver, Memphis, Dallas, Minnesota, Los Angeles, and New Orleans.
That's crazy that they think Paul George and Kawhi is better than LeBron and AD.
I'm trying to figure out where did we come across this. Like, please help me at y'all in the comments. When did we get to a point to where the Clippers are seen as the powerhouse currently? When it comes as far as championships, they have Milwaukee is expected. They have Milwaukee voted with a 41% clip to be the champions. Golden State has earned 25%. The Clippers earned 21%, and Boston is 11%. Of course, I'll make sure that change. I don't foresee Boston really be with the elite unless their interim coach can pull a rabbit out of his hat. I don't know how that's going to go. The Clippers, which Coach Ryan says, the Clippers are an older version of the Pelicans. They are loaded with the second string. And then, of course, front runner, front runner. Who do you think the GMs have as a front runner to receive the MVP award this year?
Hmm. Not Joker. Not Giannis. Oof. Is they from the West or the East?
West.
Ja?
Mm-mm.
No.
Put some respect
It's
on
gonna be
his
somebody
name.
obvious. What's over? Anthony Davis.
Uh-uh.
No. I can't believe I just said his name.
I can't
Oh,
either.
I
I'm
don't
looking
know.
for
Help me, help me out. Help me out. Help me out.
Coach Uri just said it.
Of course he
Lu-
did. He got the list in front of him.
Luka
Oh,
Doncic
Luca.
with a
Of course. How could we
48%.
forget?
The coach said it. Please don't say Luka. Luka Doncic is considered voted by the GMs. 48% of the GMs voted that Luka Doncic will
That's a
receive
low number.
the MVP. Giannis got 34%.
That's a low.
Embiid got 14%, and then
Stop it.
Steph Curry got one vote. One vote. Though I'm very sure his GM voted. It was that one vote.
Yeah, I don't know how everybody is not voting Luca.
Luka Doncic,
He's
48%.
he's the healthiest of the bunch. He's the youngest of the bunch, and I honestly might say he's the hungriest.
So it's hard for me to say Luka Doncic would be that person at the as from a preseason vote. I just wouldn't see it. Now when we start playing and it starts to become clear, like okay, yeah, Luka is definitely cooking, and he's probably looking at MVP. But just I wouldn't dare to say Luka from a preseason standpoint. Giannis, I can understand. Embiid being that they're 1, 2, 3 from last year. Jokic, like I said, I think Jokic's reign is done simply because Jamal Murray is back. Jokic would have to do so much. I mean, hell, Michael Porter's back too. Not saying that Michael Porter's going to take anything from him, but I mean, now you look at the team. He has to be. There's no way that your point guard comes back and you're still doing the things in which you was doing when your point guard was gone. I don't foresee it. So I don't think. I think Jokic, saying emerged, and now he could be a formidable uh, teammate and cause all the issues in which he caused during his MVP treks. But I don't foresee Jokic doing the same. I ain't gonna say he's not going to be the same player. I just don't foresee him doing the same numbers with Jamal Murray being back or in state in the season. He's not going to put up those same numbers. I know Jamal Murray has to get reinstituted again, but yeah, him and Michael Porter both. Uh, yeah, so that's what they have for the GMs as they put forth who they think it is. But again, I come out and say it again: the international players on full display.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot one. LeBron James was only in one category.
Gee,
So what does that say? He got voted as the player with the highest IQ. One category for King James. It looks like his reign is
hmm.
over.
Mm, I would highly disagree.
You don't think LeBron's reign is over? I mean, he's still the dominant force that we once knew him as. He's still, you know what? He's like Ghost. He's like Ghost. It's like Ghost was, saying in his heyday, he was that person. He dialed it back a little bit and let Tommy run, but still, people have to watch out and for when he tends to come back and have to put in work. He's like, you don't want him to come back and put in work because he's going to be very efficient at it, but
I,
you
I,
don't really
I
fear him
love that
because
comparison.
you don't fear him anymore really, but you at the same point you don't want him to come back.
So if LeBron is Ghost, does that mean AD is Angela? And I guess that makes D Wade Tommy.
Oh no, D Wade is nowhere close to Tommy.
So LeBron never had a Tommy then, because it ain't Kyrie.
Well, I guess you would say D Wade is no. I think D Wade isn't Tommy because D Wade went to other organizations to try to take over, and he had to basically fade into obscurity. So that's why I say, you know what? You know who D Wade
Well,
is? I
Tommy's
mean,
still trying to take over Chicago.
you know at this point who Tommy is.
Who?
I mean who well no at this point I would say that D Wade is nah he doesn't have a Tommy. I was about to say something about Tyreek, but he doesn't have a Tyreek either. So yeah, so that's
Kyrie
who I
was
was.
his Tommy. His Tyreek. Kyrie's Tyreek.
Okay, I'll give you that. So yeah,
Yeah.
so definitely that's saying basically that's what it'll be at. So yeah, interesting. So of course, like I said again, a couple of games tonight we'll be able to talk about them tomorrow. Additionally, say it again, the NBA season 18 October. When it comes to, I see Coach Uriah, we've seen Commissioner Myers, seeing Coach Walcott. That saying that brings up visions of the military basketball community, military basketball in full swing. You got plenty of tournaments that's out there in which if y'all out there watching, you can check them out. If you're a service member that's interested in playing, you can go to your nearest sports office and get in contact with the coaches and get in some of these tournaments, or just put together a team from your installation and go pull up at the tournament and making some noise and get noticed. Uh, all about the wrong round ball at this point. So, of course, moving on. Next topic, getting into the NFL. It happened, Ron. It finally happened. They have sat Mitchell Trubisky down, and now the
We
era,
can throw a parade.
the era of Kenny Pickett begins. Um, Coach Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers coach, came out and basically said that it's not Mitch's fault. It was not Mitch's fault. It was basically a situation to where Mitch played better than what they expected. However, the team did not, and so he
I
just has
call
to.
BS.
He said he feels that they just got to do something different, and hopefully Kenny Pickett will be the spark that the team needs to get back on track. As currently, Pittsburgh is 1-3 in 4 weeks of play. Ryan, you said you call BS. Please elaborate, sir. Oh, you probably dropped off for a second. Uh,
Yeah, I did, but
oh,
I
okay.
will gladly come back to elaborate Mitchell Trubisky. Have you ever seen a trash can, Trey?
Yes, plenty.
That's kind of what Mitchell Trubisky's play looked like, if you've been wondering. I don't know
Mm.
how they could possibly have said Mitchell Trubisky came and showed up better when we've all seen the tape. We all understand the rhetoric. What did they possibly think was going to change? I could have understood one game. It only took one game. The Steelers came out and got embarrassed by the Patriots to start the season. Bye, Trubisky.
They tried. It ended up didn't happening. But
They,
still, we had that situation. Do we continue to throw these quarterbacks, these rookie quarterbacks, into the mouth of the lion and hope that they come out with the skin? Like, is that? And then, not to mention, guess who's his first team that he plays against? The Buffalo Bills
hmm,
this week.
throwing them right into the mouth of the lion.
I would have at least thought that they would have gave him some time, maybe ran to Brisky, see what happens, and then institute him into a situation to where it wouldn't have been uh, a little overwhelming. But he comes against a top defense in the Buffalo Bills as a rookie quarterback, getting his first start of the season. Now QB1. Is that the situation in which you want to put him in? Is that the adversity that you want to put upon them? I don't know. If it was me, I don't think like I said, I think I would have kind of moved him in. I would have gave Trubisky the benefit of the doubt and allowed him because you got to think Pickett just threw 3 interceptions with no touchdowns. He's not doing that. He's not running for 2 touchdowns against Buffalo. So it's like, why would we put him in that situation? I don't know if there's any Pittsburgh Steelers stands out there. Radar, Don, Hardwire. If y'all out there, Pittsburgh fans, what is going on in Steeler Nation? Um, I don't know. It just becomes one of those things where now um, Kenny Pickett gets to even one be the savior, or two fall under pressure. But I guess he's paid number one drafted quarterback this past draft, top drafted quarterback, the first drafted quarterback. Now he gets to show what's going on. Cornelius with the 1-3 time to groom the future. Yeah, but do you want to start it off like that? I don't know. Um, Additionally, as we know, Thursday night football will be the Denver Broncos against the Indianapolis Colts, which, interesting enough, both teams' top players, for the most part, are out with potential injuries, with questionables of being started. Of course, the running back, new Indianapolis Colts running back, Jonathan Taylor, is hopeful to play as he is currently nursing a high ankle sprain that he sustained. No, Anthony Bishop still hasn't pulled up. I don't know where he's at. But like I said, a high ankle sprain. In Denver, additionally, Russell Wilson is facing his own issues, dealing with a shoulder injury, in which he is currently limited in practice. We discussed that yesterday. Um, However, after losing Devontae Williams to a PCL and ACL tears, before he's due to have surgery, so he's on IR, done for the season. Um, the Denver Broncos were able to go and pluck running back Latavius Murray from the New Orleans Saints practice squad. I have a lot of Saints fans on my timeline, and they are going ballistic, saying that it was a dumb move. Initially, some people thought he was traded. I had to let them know, like, no, he wasn't traded. He wasn't traded. He was basically taken off the practice squad. Even though Murray did get a little burn this past week in the London game, in which I thought he wasn't bad. I mean, he got carries, but he had a couple of single digit carries, double digit numbers. Um, but I guess they put him back in the practice squad. They can keep him activated, and now he is in the Denver Broncos camp. and that limits it, that even more limits the Saints and their offense. What now with Kamara, Ingram, and I don't even know the other running backs in which they have in their offense. Tomlin on the verge of first losing season. He better justify it by grooming. Ah, nice way of putting that, Cornelius. I can understand that, but I still think that he's gonna come out smelling like roses. He's 1-3. So if he can get back, it's going to be a hard fight to just get back 2 games and put him back at 500, and then he can start to work from there. I have confidence in him. I think he's going to be good. Uh, in an interesting turn of events, the Houston Texans. Funny that you pop up there, Snook. Even though I know that Houston isn't your team, but that is your home. The Houston Texans go and fire. Correction, release their starting tight end. Interestingly enough, of course, Farrell Brown, who was the Houston Texans tight end, uh, started out the season 7 catches for 72 yards. Was released Tuesday uh, to activate or push their emerging 2018 third round pick Jordan Atkins, who they basically brought it back. He was a Texan before. They basically brought him back and put him on the practice squad, as well as OJ Howard, which basically made Brown expandable. Brown has only missed. He only missed this game. He started the first 3 games. He missed this past week with the where they lost 34-24 to the Los Angeles Chargers, and they decided to release him, cut him. Of course, Atkinson has compiled five catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. Howard has 5 catches for 72 yards with 2 touchdowns. Uh, is it a situation in which basically they feel like Farrell Brown wasn't being productive with no touchdowns, where you have two tight ends, less catches, equal amount of yards, but 2 touchdowns as well? Things like that. When you look at it, does that become is that a situation to where it's based on the player maybe being able to or not being able to get open, or is it based on the offense in which you're calling and you're not putting that player in the potential good positions to make these plays? Like, was it Farrell Brown's fault that he wasn't getting touchdowns, or was it he wasn't in those particular time frames? Like, that is a pretty close comparison when it comes to their numbers was almost similar. Brown had more touches. Had more catches, but like I said, equal amount of yards. And he didn't have any touchdowns. I wonder what the catches were, what the looks was, how many times that he dropped the ball, um, his efficiency as a blocker, like the other tangible things in which we wouldn't know, and that's not going to show up in the stat sheet. But of course, in any case, it doesn't make a difference now. At this point, we're just talking, and he's done. He's gone. Able to be, I guess, if he makes it through waivers, able to be picked up and maybe stashed on somebody's um, practice squad going forth until someone needs another tight end. So, but in case, congratulations to Atkins and Howard, as they are the tight end quartet. Duel in in Houston now. I'm very sure they have to have someone else that's on their roster. They're not just going with 2 tight ends. What else did we have? Cowboys, Cowboys, Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? I know we got some fans in the chat, in the comments, as well as high speeds that's out there listening, looking. Um, the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, of course. Howard is better. The Dallas Cowboys. I'll let that sink in for a second. We've had a plenty conversation when it comes to the Cowboys, in which we're getting ready to talk about right now. Coach, Hey, what's good, Zach? Good morning, sir. How you doing? Glad to see your information this morning. So Dak, like you say, Coach Uriah just brought up Dak and Cooper. I wanted to let this marinate for a second, especially for my man Cornelius, who's a Cowboys fan. Richard Applewhite, another Cowboys fan. Gene Williams, a Cowboys fan. Uh, my LB, Kevin Smith, Cowboys fan. John Patterson, Cowboys fan. Marcus Garner, Cowboys fan. And I probably can go on a couple of more. Jacqueline Cole, Cowboys fan. I probably can go on and on and on, in which we talk about people that have been made their love and affinity for the Dallas Cowboys known on this show. We have to where their GM slash owner, again, let that sit and marinate for a second. Their GM slash owner, um, Jerry Jones, does not rule Dak Prescott coming back. However, he does say that Dak is having issues with his grip and gripping the ball. So when we look at this, the Dallas Cowboys play against the Los Angeles Rams this coming week, in which I'm not saying yet what my pick would be, but mm, I have my thoughts on some things. So let's say Dak Prescott does come back this week to face off against the Los Angeles Rams. Does the grip issue pose a problem? Is this a game in which you would want to put Dak behind the line, uh, in front of the Rams front four that just came off a kind of embarrassing loss to the San Francisco 49ers without a Trent Williams on the offense? From Malaya. Is this a situation to where um, you want to put Dak in? Now, Coach McCarthy stated that he would like to have Dak go through a full week of practice before making a comeback. So we have all this conversation and talks, but no one is saying anything about currently 3-0 in starts Cooper Rush. Has Cooper Rush faced a formidable defense yet? Is Cooper Rush ready to potentially dispatch and take care, sending the Los Angeles Rams to the second consecutive loss of the season? Is this even in Cooper Rush's DNA? What do the Cowboys have in Cooper Rush?
If
Fans,
Cooper Rush plays, Rams lose. If Dak plays, Rams win.
mm, that is strong coming from a Los Angeles Rams fan. What is Cooper Rush producing in D-Town?
Energy,
Mm, Gallup
morale,
is back.
unison,
Gallup is back. CD Lamb is starting to click.
connection. Connection, right. Connection with CD Lamb.
Cornelius, Rush hasn't proven anything to you? Our resident Cowboy fan, Applewhite isn't here.
That's why
Rush
we need to
has
see
not
him.
proven it. Is
That's
this
why
a
we need
proven
to see
game?
him versus the Rams.
Okay, yeah, this is a proven game. Mm. You play Dak, but realize you have a trading piece in Rush. Patriots, the Jimmy G situation all over again. This is everyone. Rush is hot, has a spot to lose. This Rush's spot to lose. I wonder what's Rush's mindset right now. How does he feel? I know I see. I think I seen one of the funniest memes, Ron, where it's like it has Dak leaning in, and the caption reads, "Hey, coach told me to come ask for my position back," and Rush says, "What position?" Let's be real. Cowboys Rush haven't won the game on his shoulders. He just a game manager. So again, I think I'm hearing the same thing. We are all saying that basically Rush hasn't proven himself yet, and this becomes one of a couple of games in which he can prove who he is. In a losing effort, do we still manage game? So of course, Cornelius is obviously Team Dak. If Dak was healthy, would we see the Cowboys at 3-1? Additionally, is Rush just a at the benefit of teams not knowing and seeing what he is or how he produces because there's no real tape out there on him for the most part. What could y'all say is the contribution to Cooper Rush's success at this point? Is it his skill? Has he been put in any real predicaments or situations to where where they was in true danger of losing? Let's get into this Rush um, Prescott. If Aaron or Tom were 15 and 27 passing, y'all would say trash. That's trash. So, Cornelius, you got. So we're not in agreement, of course, with the 15 and 27. We're going to look at that, but we can't say that. I mean, you expect differently from Aaron or Tom. Now we're going to say that it's a fall off, but should we expect anything different from Cooper Rush? So and Anthony, to his defense, I think Rush was cut. I mean, Cooper was cut to make other moves. They always intended to bring him back on the roster, on the to the practice squad. However, I do think that if Dallas messes around and doesn't keep him on their active roster and puts Rush back on the practice squad, he's gone. Someone's gonna scoop him up. He's out of there. So now I think the Dallas has put themselves in a position where they have to keep Russ on their active roster and to not lose him. Anthony Price said he's calling Brady now trash. Coach Walcott, Rush is trash. Marco words. They get blown out by the Rams, then Eagles. Just like I told the panel, Florida wasn't beating Tennessee. You did say Florida wasn't beating Tennessee. Actually, it was me that believed that Florida was going to be able to beat Tennessee. But and I'm not arguing with you saying that Rush is trash or he isn't trash. Uh, what we all said, and for the most part, is after 6 weeks, we can kind of start to formalize what we think the NFL would be. We're coming to week 5 now. Week 6 being next week. Like you said, he has within two of the next 3 games, he plays the Cowboys and the Rams, which should be enough to show us where he is and say he takes care of both the Cowboys and the Rams. Uh, would it be safe to say that he's the real deal and he's a huge problem, or what's the rhetoric then? I just wonder if he is. I know Coach Walcott just said he's trash. Cornelius says Dak is better in many ways and more consistent. But now what we see what's in front of us, and we can only deal with facts. And the facts currently are he's 3-0 in 3 starts. He hasn't lost a game at the beginning of the season, being put in, and there's a buzz starting to happen. But like I said, no different than my man that picked up for Zach Wilson last year. Came in, threw 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing, and got walloped the next couple of games after that for New York. So it's possible. Anthony Price said we need to see Rush do more than 200 yards, but that's what everyone's passing this year. Like it's not too many players that's passing more than 300 yards. I mean more than 200 yards. Of course, Brady just did it. Tua's done it. Lamar's done it. Cornelius, I like the fact we're winning, but Coop ain't carried the team. Where was Coop when Dak missed the whole season? Y'all went with who do y'all? They ain't go with Cooper Rush. Y'all went with Didn't they bring in my man that's in New Orleans now?
Mm,
Red his name always slips my mind. The current backup Andy Dalton. Yeah, they brought in Dalton.
they
They brought in
did.
Dalton and then had what's his name was the backup. Also, he got released as well. Cooper Rush wasn't thought about. Then they brought Cooper Rush back this year. But I digress.
Cowboys
Anyway,
fans are just ungrateful.
they're ungrateful. They what is it? Oh my
This
goodness.
is the same energy when they wanted to bring Romo back.
Mm. How funny how
Who
history
was
repeats
that?
itself.
Where'd Dak been?
In any case, so I have some questions. When we're on quarterback conversation, I have some questions, which Brian, I'm very sure you're going to be. I could almost predict what some of your answers would be in the case. So I will start off first and foremost. Who are your top 5 QBs right now, Ron? No particular order, or if you want to put in an order, who are your top five?
Of course, you know I love my list. Let's start at number one. That'll be easy. Sir Patrick Mahomey. No one's close.
Really
Number
interesting.
two, unfortunately, we have to go with that bad man up in the Bills Mafia,
Josh
Josh
Allen.
Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, since we talking about bad men, too much respect for Aaron Rodgers. Yes, he's still Aaron Rodgers at number three. Now it gets spicy. I'm
Yes, it
around mine
does.
out with the GOAT at number five, just because he's the GOAT, Tom Brady. But my number four pick, very disappointing performance this past Sunday against Josh Allen, but Lamar Jackson's in my top five as well.
So your affinity for a couple of them leaves out a couple of people. The the
Who I leave
the
out?
owner the owner of the only undefeated team in the league, Jalen Hurts, and the resilient go
So,
getter in Los Angeles, Justin Herbert.
so are we talking about
Neither.
just for this 2023 season?
Yes, for this 2023 season so far. This up
Oh, then Tua's in this conversation as well. Tua might be
for
number
the
one.
no, stop it, Ron. I mean, I stand for Tua in certain
He the
aspects.
one that
Tua,
threw 6 touchdowns in the game, not me. Don't get mad at me. He did it. Ain't
so
nobody had a
Tua,
better game than him yet.
uh, Dalton DiNucci, that's who it was. DiNucci was the person they went with. Uh, so true, but now Tua's gone. I don't foresee Tua coming back to bring back that season. It's unfortunate because he was clicking. Uh, but as of right now, top five. Ron said, of course. First and foremost, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Number three, who's your number three?
Rogers,
Rogers, Aaron Rodgers, and then number four, Lamar Jackson. Number
Lamar.
five was
And if
Tom
we
Brady.
doing this for the 2023, I'm gonna take Tom Brady out and put
Mm,
our guy at number three, Jalen Hurts, in
Jalen
front
Hurts.
of Lamar and Rogers.
Mm, Jalen Hurts. I think for all right. I think that going forth, I think is whew, I will go with Josh Allen after Josh, Patrick Mahomes. As much as it pains me to say that, another pain to say Jalen Hurts. Number at number four, Lamar,
Don't you
and number
say Herbert?
five. No, number five would be Herbert.
Okay.
Number five would be Herbert.
Oh, you
Lamar,
did say Herbert in your top five.
yeah, Herbert is in the top five. I think he does a comeback. So yeah, Herbert, and then so that would be me. Allen, Mahomes, Hurts, Jackson, Herbert. I still just don't believe in. I'm not saying as Aaron. I'm just not out on the Aaron Rodgers and Brady bandwagon yet. Of course. Next question: Who are your most disappointing quarterbacks so far? Who are you the most disappointed with so far? Uh,
Stafford.
mm, that's an interesting one. Uh,
Matt Ryan.
yeah, true
Russell
that.
Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Me for the most part, I agree with. I ain't gonna say Stafford yet. Stafford. I mean, you probably have a different look at how you when you look at Stafford than I do,
A
but
look of
definitely,
disgust.
definitely, I can agree with the Matt Ryan. For me, I think Justin Fields, man. Justin Fields is I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I don't know if we dodged the bullet in not just drafting Justin Fields instead of Trey
Yeah,
Lance. I don't know, but it's looking
he's
pretty.
trolling.
Yeah. Um,
Trey's trolling, y'all.
Winston Wilson for Anthony Price. Anthony Price, I can't put Lamar in the top five when you can't score in the second half twice. Zach says Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson for sure. Um, yeah, those are the ones in which that's who I'm looking at right now. Um, there's been a couple of breakouts this year. Whose breakout do you think is the realest right now? What quarterback, 32, 34 quarterbacks is out there, do you think has the break has had their breakout is for real? I think you have Lawrence's, you have Tua's, you have the Hertz, you have Rush. Who else has a breakout? Who's having a breakout? Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa, um, Jalen Hurts, Cooper Rush. Is there any other breakout quarterbacks? That could be one. Golf, another breakout. Whose do you think is the realest? I see Anthony Price with Tua. Uh, he also brings up golf. Um, for, I think the real one. I don't know if Tua as golf is. I expect to be a fall off of golf at some point. Tua is unfortunate, like I said. Um, I've put in. I have never ever stated Carr to be as such. I've always wondered what the big hoopla was about Carr. So saying like you said, where's y'all's beloved Carr? That's the same question I asked because I don't understand what the all the talk was about Carr initially. Um, I did, however, state that Tua was going to have a year, in which he did until, um, unfortunately, these concussions. I would be interested in realize or know if he's going to come back. Obviously, there's some damage, I would think. Um, Golf, I've been more having a more affinity for Detroit Lions as a whole as opposed to golf alone. But we got to take in consideration golf is a Super Bowl quarterback. Although they did not win that year, he is a Super Bowl quarterback. Um, he's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's a Super Bowl quarterback. Um, the Lions have been in the hunt. However, they were without their top receiver this weekend and couldn't get the job done. Um, week 8 or week 10 till we back to watch. Back watch. He'll be back, but I don't know. I just Anthony for me, I just think it's we seen the glimpse. We know what to expect. Hopefully, he can come back and reenact that when he does come back. But I think it'll just be better set maybe to power him down a little bit just for his impact because he went through a lot. Or maybe I'm a little presumptuous, but I do agree too. It has a breakout season. What about Trevor Lawrence? I know Bishop always talks about Trevor Lawrence. Have y'all thought that Trevor Lawrence has been that figure to where we see and he's engaging enough to where it's like, hey, we're good to go. Jacksonville could make some moves. Um, Jalen Hurts, 3-0. Correction, 4-0. Only 4-0 undefeated team in the NFL. Stop being a homer. Uh, I wonder like where are we at with that? Do we see any other glimpse for any other from any other quarterback? Of course, additionally to that question, my next question would be, who is a quarterback that concerns you the most at this point? Who concerns you the most? Of course, for me, is my own team and Jimmy Garoppolo most concerning. Just don't know what to expect. That lack of expect that type of expectation caused me to choose against them in a head-to-head game with a division foe. Um, Honestly, let's not act like the defense wasn't the reason for the season, but Jimmy Garoppolo does concern me for the most part. He was overthrowing receivers, which is renditions of what we've seen in the Super Bowl. It's just sometimes you don't know which Jimmy you're getting, and that is concerning, of course, for me as a 49ers fan. Uh, Tom Brady, of course, I spoke on that already at the beginning of the season before he even came back. Even with the fact now that you look at it, I don't know if y'all see, but of course it was in the news yesterday that now him and his wife are getting a divorce or both have to seek to get divorce lawyers. In some aspects, that doesn't even necessarily mean divorce is going to happen. It's just a prerequisite to the divorce process. But I mean, that could be some of the reason why he even one decided to come back to the NFL, or two, he decided, or he why he had that brief miss of in the during the preseason. It could be a multiple reasons in which that is. It was stated um, that he has that he had family problems, and like Anthony said, Brady picked football over family. Maybe, I don't know, it's possible, or maybe that was, saying. But then again, like I was saying, if it was a situation that this was already looming with a potential divorce, maybe that's why he picked football, to have something to come back um, to have something to do to keep him, to keep him his mind right. Could be why he picked it. So it just don't know at this point. But for the most part, that's what's been set in front of him. So I can see why Brady could potentially be having a bit of an off season, especially now that the news is out. It may knock him for a loop a little bit. It messes up his judgment and what and how he views things, or it may invigorate him to come out and be the same Brady in the old. Okay, Cornelius. I need to say, of course, talking about Anthony Price, Brady picked football over his wife. His kids be with him. Peep game, boss. So, I mean, it's. I mean, it's definitely that, and that can take its toll for any person, even for the post quote unquote goat. When you talk about it, that saying he controls the life on that football field. He's the reigning champion. I'm not reigning champion. He's a goat. Saying in between those lines on that gridiron. But of course, when you get back into your real life, it may not be the same, and that could be a reason why we're seeing a bit of a drop off, just going through a whole bunch of stuff. But in any case, we do know that he was playing football. He stopped playing football. He decided to come back to play football again, and he had a little brief um, removal from football just to come back, and then 4 weeks later, it gets talked about that him and his wife are splitting. Unfortunate, but it is a part of life. It happens a lot, a lot, a lot. Um, Let me see. Currently, of non-front runners in the NFL, all the quarterbacks, and he gives us something in real life. So with all the quarterbacks currently that's out there, of the ones that are not considered to be front runners, who could possibly win the MVP this year? So I'm talking about all the ones who don't. We're not talking about the Lamar Jacksons. We're not talking about the Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady's, or Josh Allen's. Outside of those QBs, who is the front runner to win? Who is a non-front runner that could possibly win the MVP this year? Quarterbacks. Of course, first ones come to mind for me. Uh, Jalen Hurts, as much as it pains me to say that. But then again, Justin Herbert is one that I think is possible, could possibly get it done. Additionally, I would even say, I know Cornelius just said something about Jimmy G. I would even say potential Jimmy G can walk up and walk in. Depending on what the season goes for Jimmy G, no different than Matthew Stafford to be able to walk it up and walking in and basically walk it back into where he puts the rounds in the position. Um, who else? I think it starts there for me. A front runner. Tua would be one. If he hadn't got injured, I think he would have been one. Um, yeah, I think it would stop there as far as not those quarterbacks. I think it would be Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, maybe Jared Goff. Of course, in my last question when it comes to quarterbacks, I asked this question: Which which backup turned starter has the best chance of sticking as the starter? The backup turned starter that has now has the opportunities to stay as a starter. Who you think it is? Of course, for me, the first one that comes to mind now is well, I'm not going to even say that. I was going to say Pickett, but Pickett still has some stuff to do. It's a possibility that Trubisky might get reinserted again, depending on how the season's going. Um, but I think the one that comes to mind the most, of course, is Jimmy Garoppolo, which was evident. Um, Someone that's been on fire currently, and in which I didn't expect. Just knew he wasn't going to get this, the start, or that he was going to be traded. Probably key one is Geno Smith out in Seattle. I don't foresee. I guess he's not getting challenged or anything. I think unless he was just to have a bad season and start having situations or problems this season, that they're probably going to stay with him if they finish fairly good in the division. I don't. Maybe they won't be too aggressive in pursuing a backup. I mean, another quarterback there in Seattle. But I'm very sure they're going to pursue one to potentially replace him at some point. But right now, I think it's Geno Smith. Um, I don't know if we have a situation of any of the other backups that are currently outside of Garoppolo that can basically play themselves into a starting position somewhere else. Like I said, Rush currently, I think if he continues to win a couple of more wins under his belt, um, as long as he's as long as he's not released by the Cowboys or not put on the practice squad or anything like that, I think he's good. But anywhere else, I think anywhere else he goes, he continues to be a backup, just a good backup. Um, so yeah, so I think that would be the primary one is Geno Smith going for. So that's not so. Cornelius, I'm not talking up Rush right now, but we can't remove the fact that Rush is he's only played a handful of games. He gets instituted into the game. He wins the first game. No, they lost the first game. He wins his first game as a starter. He wins his second game as a starter. He wins his third game as a starter, in which he had to come back. Now he's in position to win his fourth game against what is perceived to be a pretty good defense and a pretty good team. So if they're able to beat the Los Angeles Rams on this weekend, you got to start talking. I think you do have to start talking about Rush. Cousins, okay, yeah. So it's like that's just why I see and think of it with instinct. And I don't think Cousins is not in MVP form yet. I don't think. I know, of course, Eric would think differently. Maybe even Zach would think differently, but I just don't think he's in playoff form. But yeah, that's the only reason I speak of a Rush. Like in state is Rush might start falling off, in which they're gonna have to bring Dak back. Once Dak get back in there, Dak may or may not fall off. He said y'all some haters. I don't know because it just doesn't do it for me. That's another one I wonder if we dodged the bullet. I guess you could say we did because I can't say that. I guess you can't say that in hindsight. I remember at one point it was said that San Francisco was huge, was heavy on Cousins. When he was going through with the Washington, they were still the Redskins at the time. When they was going through and he was getting those franchise tags, those two franchise tags back to back. And they thought they just kept on thinking that San Francisco was going to grab him. They was going to get him. San Francisco was his place of destination. And then he ended up going to Minnesota and getting that unguaranteed $88 million deal. Uh, I like him better than Cousins. I'm not going to even lie to you. And we haven't even seen him. So it's just one of those things just to be safe. But I mean, Lance maybe for matter. We haven't seen Lance. Lance might come back and have a Tua type year. Uh, a, a Lamar Jackson type year. I would like to say a Cooper Rush type year, but we don't know what Cooper looks like yet. We just know what he looks like right now. He still has uh, 13 games potentially to go. Um, if Dak comes back in the next 2 or 3 weeks, then we might not see Cooper Rush ever again, unless Dak starts to lose games and undo what it was that Cooper put in place. Then we might see Cooper again. But chances are, once Dak comes back, we won't see Cooper Rush again. So I can't say that. Okay, I got you, Zach. That's your team. And I said that as well. He wasn't a guy. Once I sit back and looked at it, I was like, he wasn't a guy. I was glad that San Francisco didn't go pick him up or didn't sign him for that fact of the matter. Well, at that time, we had Colin. Um, or I think it was in between the Colin years. So, but yeah, that's for the most part. I'm not hating on Minnesota or Cousins. I just don't. I just my preference is just that. But if he continues to does his thing, then uh, Cousins doing exactly what he got. He has weapons. Thean, Cook, Addison, uh, Jefferson. He has a few formidable players to get the ball to. Uh, right now, 3-1. Is it by circumstance? I don't know. And so it remains to be seen how they're going to do. Y'all division is easy at this point. Y'all don't have much of a division. Y'all got to watch for it. I mean, y'all not going to have problems with Chicago. Chicago might be the team. Well, no, they're not going to be that. They might be the one of those. Oh heck, at this point they got two wins. So I don't know. Chicago might not win a game one game in the division. Green Bay, it might be the only person which y'all have to worry about. Matter of fact, before we get up out of here, I know we have uh tripping. Uh who the division leaders are of course in the East, I mean in the West, in the NFC West, uh, the the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, Cowboys follow up, New York and Washington in the North, uh like we said, the Minnesota Vikings, the Green Bay Packers. Detroit is 1-3. Chicago's 2-2. We'll see how what's the shift in that. Of course, in the West, San Francisco leads. At all teams are 500. San Francisco leads, followed by Los Angeles and the Seattle Seahawks and Arizona Cardinals bring up the rear. In which, and then lastly, in the South, the Buccaneers are the number one team. Atlanta, surprisingly, number two. Even more surprisingly is the fact that the New Orleans Saints are the worst team in the NFC South. It's crazy when we sit up and just thought that the Saints will be number one or battling for number one with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Uh, Atlanta was even out there being thought about, and now here we are. Um, in the East, it was suspected, of course, the Washington Commanders are the last team. However, the New York Giants battling with the Cowboys for the number one spot, for the second spot, and currently, as long as they keep that goose egg in their loser spot, the Philadelphia Eagles being in the position they're in. So that's pretty pretty good, I would say. Um, in any case, oh, let me see. Um, so that's my time for today. I greatly appreciate y'all rocking with us this morning. Look forward to seeing y'all all back in formation tomorrow, of course. 09 to 1100 hours, just as any time. Maybe soon at some point we have a bishop appearance. Um, if he waits long enough, it'll subside. We won't even think about the fact that the Oklahoma Sooners have lost two games back to back, or even have the opportunity to lose a third game back to back to back this week. Um, we won't even worry about it. We won't bring it up. Bishop, I promise you. Um, yeah, we're done. Uh, we won't say anything else out after besides today. Besides that, greatly appreciate y'all rocking with me this morning. Look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow and Friday. We know tomorrow we'll be able to talk about the Indianapolis Colts versus the Denver Broncos and make our picks to start off this week. And when it comes down to picks, as we know, Ron is out in front. Bishop is second. I'm bringing up the rear in third, but I look to have a strong comeback soon enough. All I have to do is catch the person in front of me, and then after that, catch the next person in front of him. That's our show today. I look forward to checking with y'all. Holler at me. Shout out to all those fantasy winners over the weekend. I got me a couple, and now I again have to push my assault on the next one. Appreciate y'all. Look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Thank you, Kenneth, Razak. frat sisters, brothers and sisters. Holla at y'all high speeds. It's your boy Trey. I'm out.